The Virginia Horse Industry Board, Southwest Virginia Agricultural Association, and the Virginia Christmas Tree Growers Association are proud sponsors of Virginia farming.
This program's brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Large or small, Virginia farmers work year-round to help put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.
Polaris, offering its hardest-working, smoothest riding off-road side-by-sides, featuring the value-minded new Ranger 800 midsize, hunt, farm, or trail. Polaris has the Ranger side-by-side you want at Polaris.com.
Brought to you by Farm Family, Life, Auto, Business, Farm. Jim Gray, farmer's son, agribusiness owner, insurance agent. Another personal story on farmfamilypeople.com. Farm Family, the people you know. Hi everybody, welcome to Virginia Farming. I'm Amy Roscher. Virginia exports are growing by leaps and bounds. We'll talk about what's happening overseas that's affecting Virginia agriculture when VDACS Commissioner Matt Lohr joins us on Ag Insights. Then we'll join Mark Viette in the garden to talk about successful vegetable gardening, and we'll have the Ag Calendar and a Minute in the Field video. All this plus the Ag News of the Week on this edition of Virginia Farming. The deadline to apply for federal economic injury disaster loans is coming up on June 17th. VDACS says the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program is available to small businesses, small ag cooperatives, small businesses engaged in aquaculture, and most private nonprofit organizations of all sizes that suffered financial losses as a direct result of drought, excessive heat, and high winds that began on January 1st of last year. Now, applicants may apply online through the Small Business Administration at sba.gov or by calling the Customer Service Center at 800-659-2955. Well, Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack is calling on Congress to pass legislation he says is crucial to American farmers. The USDA's Bob Ellison has more.
Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack told a farm broadcasters gathering that Congress has a chance to show that Washington can work for American producers.
And I think in both immigration and in the 5-year farm program, we have two great opportunities to send a message to people across the country that Democrats and Republicans, Senate members and House members can work together to solve problems and get things done.
Vilsack says with compromises regarding financial safety nets, price supports, and payment caps, the time is right to pass a farm bill providing long-term solutions for rural America.
So this 5-year program really is the roadmap, if you will, for revitalizing the rural economy and rebuilding the rural economy so that we begin to complement production agriculture and offer other alternatives for young people as we continue to become efficient and effective in agricultural production.
Vilsack says he also hopes immigration reform roadblocks are solved so that a bill providing for additional farm labor can be passed.
It complements that stable workforce with a guest worker system that is calibrated to be able to meet the worker needs of agribusiness and agriculture without creating an oversupply of labor that would potentially drive wages down and eliminate opportunities for Americans. So I'm sincerely hopeful that the efforts to derail immigration reform are not successful and that we get a bill through the Senate and through the House and to the President's desk at some point in time this year.
In Washington, D.C., for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, I'm Bob Ellison.
Thank you, Bob. Virginia Farm Bureau reminds farmers to examine all cutting and baling equipment before heading out to the hayfield. Check bearings, hydraulic hoses, tires, and signal lights. Make sure cutter blades, teeth, and bars are not bent or cracked. Keep a charged water or foam fire extinguisher on all hay equipment and in work buildings. And always shut down the equipment before working on it. If you need to transport on a public road, make sure that all safety features are in place along with slow-moving vehicle emblems and reflective tape. It's also a good idea to use escort vehicles when moving hay on roadways.
Well, June is Dairy Month nationwide, and milk is the official beverage of the Commonwealth. Last year, Virginia dairy farms produced more than 198 million gallons of milk, and each of Virginia's 96,000 dairy cows produced an average of 5.6 gallons of milk per day. That 5.6 gallons of milk is enough to make nearly 5 pounds of cheese or 2 pounds of butter. Virginia's dairy industry consistently ranks near the top when compared to the state's other principal crops and livestock, contributing $395 million to the state's bottom line. Well, what better time than June Dairy Month to have a new creamery up and running? The Will family in Mount Crawford has expanded their dairy operation to include a creamery. Morgan Davies has the story.
When was the last time you really tasted your milk? Here, at the Mount Crawford Creamery, Kenny and Frank Will want you to start thinking differently about your milk.
We've had people tell us over the years, milk truck drivers that come and pick up our milk will drink some of it, and they say we have good milk.
The Wills have been milking since 1952, but the creamery just opened in May, and it wasn't a quick or easy process.
Well, it was just, we did a lot of research before we jumped into it. We didn't want to just do it. So we spent probably 2 years talking to other farmers, visiting other farms, places that were doing this, had been doing it.
The pasteurization process the creamery uses is different than what larger scale facilities use.
We think that the vat pasteurization helps retain more of the natural flavor of milk, and by not homogenizing it, you get a more natural product. And there have been some health studies say that the non-homogenized is actually better for you because you don't, the cream, you get the taste of it, but it's not absorbed into your body. It will pass through, which makes perfect sense.
Our milk is pumped from over here at the dairy barn. It's pumped through that upper stainless steel line. And if we want to separate the milk, take the cream off, goes through the cream separator. The cream's then put into this little pasteurizer. Milk goes in the big pasteurizer. And it's pasteurized at 145 degrees for 40 minutes. And the milk's pumped into the filler and it just runs around there on gravity. Filtered air blows the caps, comes up through here. There are snap caps. They ride around and they hit up on this thing and pushes the caps right down on the bottles. Come on down the line, goes through the labeler, and gets a label.
Since opening, the brothers have been selling their milk at the creamery store, as well as sending bottles to local markets.
The milk that we're selling right now out of the plant is going down to Bridgewater Food Mart. They're carrying it. Weir's Cave Shop and Save, and Red Front in Harrisburg.
The Wills are hopeful that their product will spread throughout the Commonwealth and even into some local colleges.
We hope to, this coming fall, that we can furnish some milk products for at JMU and maybe some of the other local colleges too, in the individual serving sizes.
The creamery is also hoping to produce butter and ice cream in the future, but currently offers 2% whole, skim, and chocolate milk that they say tastes better than the milk you're drinking.
Our milk is better. I don't know what it is, if it's the feed, if it's the water, but you go on some of these farms and the milk doesn't have as good a taste.
From the Mount Crawford Creamery in Mount Crawford, Virginia, I'm Morgan Davies. It tastes as good as they say.
Thank you, Morgan. Virginia exports are booming. We'll find out what's going out and to where when VDACS Commissioner Matt Lohr joins us. That's coming up on Ag Insights. Virginia's ag exports are growing by leaps and bounds. Joining us today is VDACS Commissioner Matt Lohr. Matt, welcome to Virginia Farming.
Thanks, Amy. Great to be with you.
The numbers we're seeing reported from the governor's office are huge, an increase from the year before. But ag exports are really not new to Virginia. Tell us a little bit about some of the first exports.
Sure. Well, you know, we've been exporting products for hundreds of years, of course, going back to the colonial times when tobacco really was the first product that was grown in Virginia that was exported in the early 1600s, and that's really what the Commonwealth was founded upon, was the success of the tobacco crop and how that was exported back to England. So yeah, exports are certainly nothing new. We've certainly diversified quite a bit since the colonial times, but yeah, exporting ag products that are grown in Virginia around the world is certainly something that we've been doing for hundreds of years.
So tobacco being one of the first exports, how is it doing today in this realm of the no smoking world and everything? How's it doing?
Actually, leaf tobacco is tremendously popular as an export item. I think last year tobacco was about $125 million worth of Virginia tobacco that was exported. And actually that number, as far as what's grown in Virginia, is larger because that's just the tobacco that goes out of our port. But a lot of the tobacco that's grown in Virginia actually goes down to North Carolina and out that port. So the figures say between Virginia and North Carolina together, it's about $800 million worth of tobacco. So yeah, tobacco is certainly a product that's changed a lot and with the whole industry, but exporting of leaf tobacco still remains a very popular commodity around the world.
Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about the numbers. And I'm going to let you give us those numbers.
Sure.
Last year, what was the number for Virginia ag exports?
For 2012, it was $2.61 billion of agriculture and forestry products grown in Virginia, a 12% increase from the year before, which was at $2.35 billion. So we're continually seeing these pretty substantial jumps in our ag export numbers year after year. And it's not just happening by chance. It's really the result of a lot of great work that's taken place in Virginia, that the administration's done, that our agency has done to really make sure we can continue to improve that.
Right, and then I guess, we just reported where we opened an office in Shanghai. So, and that's not something that happens overnight. And I know you guys are overseas working as well.
That's right.
With offices all across the country. Tell me a little bit about some of the offices we have.
For 25 years, we've had a VDACS, a Department of Agriculture office in Hong Kong. David Wong's been with us for 25 years. But we realized that part of the world, in Asia primarily, is where most of the world's population is lying. Between India and China, it's like 2.4 or 5 billion people just in those two countries alone. Within the last couple of years, we've opened up new trade offices, and these are our trade offices promoting Virginia agriculture products in China, India, and we just opened up one recently in Europe, based in London, and then in Latin America. We've just opened up one, and we're in the process of opening up one in Canada later on this year. So it's fascinating to look and see. There's 7 billion people in the world. That number is predicted to be at 9 billion in the year 2050, and the largest chunk of that growth is coming out of Asia. So we've really positioned our Commonwealth in a strategic place going forward to have boots on the ground representing our industry, promoting Virginia products in those regions of the world.
And it's amazing to think that, our Commonwealth is represented in that many places across the globe for our ag industry. It's amazing.
Exactly, you're right. And this isn't just American agriculture, this is Virginia agriculture.
Right.
So certainly the producers, the farmers, the ranchers in our Commonwealth are the ones that are going to really benefit.
So we talked about Asia, but where are the majority of these exports? That 12% growth, where are these exports going?
Well, it's kind of funny when you look at the list of the countries that are buying our products. China far and away exceeds it. Over $600 million a year of ag exports go to China alone. Number 2 is Canada, which really isn't a surprise because they're right next door. But then Morocco, which is interesting. Morocco is a country that we actually export quite a bit to, and they're in 3rd place. And then when you look at the long list of the rest of the countries, it's kind of a smorgasbord of developed nations. There's some that are a little bit unconventional, like Cuba. You look at down in the Caribbean, some of those nations. So it's really a mix of products that are going all around the world. But China definitely is the largest country that's buying our products by far.
So what are these countries buying? Morocco. That's so interesting. It's not a company. It's not a country that would have come to my mind first.
Exactly,
first off.
And part of that is when you look at international trade, it's very complicated. Obviously, when you look at trade embargoes that are placed on products and tariffs that are placed on products, and we've been fortunate that over the last couple of years have negotiated with a free trade agreement with Morocco that's finally gone into place that really puts our products, the United States, at an advantage over other countries. And so a lot of it is just circumstance of where some of these trade agreements are at. But then, but other countries, it's work that we have actually done, being boots on the ground and really making sure that happens. Products, primarily grains, are the biggest ones. Soybeans, especially to China, tremendous opportunities we've had with Purdue Agribusiness and being able to ship barge loads of grain and soybeans primarily over to these countries. But then it's a whole host of things from animal fats, from wood products, wood pellets, lumber type products. Tobacco still remains a big one. It's exciting to see the growth of Virginia wine. In fact, on the governor's trade mission just recently, it was announced that Chateau Morissette down in Floyd County just had a big agreement with several thousand cases of wine that's going to be going to China. So really it's very diverse. We send apples to Cuba. We had some success this past year sending a vessel load of bulls to Russia. We've sent recently some cattle, some feeder cattle have gone to Canada. So these are some new emerging commodities that we haven't had success in the past. But
and that's interesting. Sending the cattle, you don't think about them, that's a long trip on a boat.
It is, you're exactly right.
And so what are they doing with them in Russia? Are they going to slaughter, or are they breeding?
It's breeding,
too?
yeah.
Okay.
These were hosting bulls that were going to Russia, and they'll be used in breeding operations. So, but the live cattle that went to Canada, though, they'll be going to feedlots up there and finished out. So we think about sending processed beef to some countries, but the thought of actually sending live cattle is kind of a new concept.
That's interesting. So in your mind, what is it that makes Virginia, I know there has to be a lot of factors involved, but what is it that makes our state such a great place for the exports to work so well?
Well, I'll give a lot of the credit to the governor. I mean, Governor McDonald came into office, and my boss, Secretary Todd Haymore, it's been a top priority of this administration. They understand that when you're exporting products around the world, it not only benefits the farmers, but it benefits so many other factors along the way, because it doesn't just happen. It doesn't just get from the farm to another country. There's so many players in play, so it helps the overall economy. So the governor's made it a tremendous priority. He's had 8 trade missions around the world since he took office, and at every one of those missions, he's had agriculture right at the forefront of what he wants to accomplish. So that's been the result of a lot of work and dedication on his part. The trade offices that we've opened up clearly are showing great promise. We've got a world-class port in Virginia, and having the facilities there with the port really makes it great to send products out of there. We've got good roadways and good transportation system around the state, and finally just the diversity of products. If you live in Idaho, you're raising potatoes, but in Virginia, as you know, the valley and the whole Commonwealth is so diverse, from tobacco to poultry and up and down the valley to soybeans and peanuts and cotton. It's just such a diversity of products, and so it really makes Virginia very attractive.
I guess it does, and I think a lot of those things we take for granted. Our roadways, the ports. We drive down to Newport News and we see the ships docked, and sometimes I don't think it even crosses our mind. Wonder what they're carrying.
Exactly.
Or they're taking our products to China.
They are.
And things like that. And I just think that's an amazing accomplishment.
And what's neat too is that many products, I know, for example, soybeans are a tremendous export item, but many of those soybeans are being grown here in the valley. It's a 3-hour truck ride to get them down to the port, but so even though we live 3 hours from the port, still are able to take advantage of those opportunities. Yeah.
Well, I guess the economic impact of Virginia exports is pretty apparent, because we're definitely making money doing this. What do you think are some other advantages of us having such a great export record?
Well, it's like I said earlier, it's more than just the actual farmers. Now, certainly the farmers are benefiting by the more products they can sell. Typically, the price goes up, so it gives another avenue. But we have to have folks that truck these items to get them to the port, employees that work at the port, folks that are actually trying to market these products around the globe, the processors. So many jobs come into place whenever we're talking about getting products around the world. It creates a lot of jobs and a lot of economic activity, and obviously when companies are making money, then there's more taxes involved for the Commonwealth as well. So it really is a win-win all the way around.
Yeah, and we need jobs, so that's great that we're able to open some of those up. And do you see Do you see the export future just growing in Virginia?
Well, we hope so. As you know, each administration gets 4 years and they're done. So Governor
Right.
McDonnell has done a great job, but his term in office is winding up in a few months. And I guess we'll have to see what the next governor will make as his priority. But our goal has been to really put the framework in place, to have these offices established, to have the markets created so that the next governor can come in and hit the ground running and set the bar even higher. So certainly it's our hope, even though the governor may be leaving office and folks will come and go, that we have created a network in place that will continue for generations to come, and that it'll continue to grow and expand for the next set of folks in government.
Well, I hope so, because a lot of work has been done, and I think it's pushing us forward, and Virginia is going to be world renowned for their agricultural products. That's great.
And it's exciting to see Virginia wines. You know, we have 240 wineries in Virginia now, and to think that you can go around the world to London or China or wherever and see Virginia wines. We're the 5th producing state in the country for wines, and so it's neat to have that international recognition as well.
Yeah, it's great. It's good news all the way around, really.
It is.
So, Matt, thank you so much for being here today. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks.
We'll be right back. There are a few simple rules for successful gardening. One of them is successive planting. With tips, here's Mark Viette.
The most important tip to successful vegetable gardening is proper soil preparation. The second most important tip to successful gardening is successive planting. Remember, many times by the end of July, by the end of August, by the end of September, we're not picking any more vegetables. Our vegetables have already bared. They're already finished. In fact, in some cases, they've probably turned brown, and you've probably almost even pulled them out of the garden. And it's really important to not go out in the spring and plant your whole garden. I mean, you know, we can't wait till after winter. You know, the winter's cold. We just can't wait to get in the garden. We go, wow, I want to plant my whole garden at once. Really, what you ought to do is plant maybe a quarter or a third of that garden, and the next month plant again, again, and again. And here at Mike and Glenda's garden, you'll notice that we have a brand new crop of tomatoes just planted that really aren't going to bear till the latter part of September, October, and maybe even into November, depending if we get any early freezes. And right here, we have a great example of a tomato that's been planted for about a month or two that's really just beginning to bear. So we can actually pick this in September. And let me go ahead and show you some tomato plants that are in their full bearing age. As you can see, some of the earlier planted tomatoes, such as the Roma tomatoes, which usually just bears all at once, are really finishing up. You can see the foliage is dying, and they're really ready to pick. This is the fun part, actually going out in the garden and picking these great tomatoes. This is Park's Whopper, which is a really nice, firm, fruited tomato. This one here is Mr. Stripey, and when you cut through it, it's got pink flesh, and it's yellow and pink in the bottom. And this one here is German Johnson. These are just a handful of some of my favorite types of tomatoes. And we can't forget the grape tomatoes. And I've grown all the different types of small bearing tomatoes. But the grape tomato is really one that lasts a long time. You can pick it, it'll even last 1 to 2, maybe even 3 weeks. And best of all, the grape tomatoes, they're the best tasting. Beans and peppers also do very well planted in succession rather than all at once. Another successful gardening tip for those small areas or areas where there's very poor soil is to create a raised garden bed. And Mike and Glenda here have actually built wooden beds that they fill with soil. You can make these anywhere from 6 inches to 18 inches in height. Fill them with perfect soil and plant them with your plants. And right here, they've been planted with broccoli. Remember, these are just a few of the tips that I would recommend if you want to pick your vegetables all the way into fall. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
Taking a look at our ag calendar, the Virginia Pork Festival will be held Wednesday, June 12th at the Greensville-Rueton Club grounds in Emporia. Over 30 pork dishes will be served, and there will be 5 stages with live entertainment. Tickets include all you can eat and all of your favorite beverages. For more information, visit vaporkfestival.com. That does it for our show. Have a great week, everyone. I'm Amy Roscher for Virginia Farming.
This program's brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. From apples to zucchini, Virginia farmers work hard to put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.
Polaris, offering its hardest working, smoothest riding full-size workhorses, including the all-new 60-horsepower Ranger XP 900, hunt, farm, or trail. Polaris has the full-size Ranger you want at Polaris.com.
Brought to you by Farm Family. Life, auto, business, farm. Nancy Asher, stable owner, visionary, agent of change. Another personal story on farmfamilypeople.com. Farm Family, the people you know.